everybody doing? It's Russ from Rusty Tracks Railroad here. Hope everybody's doing well. On this 21st of December, hard to believe that we're all, 4 days till Christmas Eve? Unbelievable. Anyways, let's try and get this show started, shall we? Merry Christmas. Yes, I've got my hat on. I'm ready for Christmas. And I hope everybody else is too. Hopefully this year Santa will be good to all you model railroaders out there. We'll obviously have to wait and see what everybody gets for Christmas on the 25th. If anybody's around or sober or recovering in general from too much turkey. And hey, yeah, we'll go from there, I guess. So today we're going to do a quick little switching session. So I've got my switching list here. It should be fairly quick. Not a whole lot on the sheet. Looks like it's going to be 6 moves that we're going to have to do. We'll play it by ear and see how things go. But in the meantime, Santa just came early to Rusty Tracks Railroad just before I went live on air here. Several weeks ago, I took a chance and ordered in some fencing for my N-scale railroad here. And I know it's tough with N-scale because we have a difficult time in finding, products in general that work well. Sorry for that noise. Products in general that work well for our scale. And I know Woodland Scenics has got some metal fencing available. And but I saw this stuff on Temu, I believe it was. Yes, it was Temu. And we'll get this up to the camera here. I don't know how well you'll see it. But it's a metal fence. You can cut it and shape it. In other words, bend it. You can bend over the top section to give it a bit of a barbed wire type fence. Metal legs on the fence itself. So all you need to do is drill the locations into your layout and glue the posts in place. Now I'd ordered in, I think it was 2 or 3 sections just as a test a couple of weeks ago, as I said, and I was quite pleased with what they looked like and how well they were manufactured. So I thought, hey, I'm going to order 10 more pieces. So I ordered 10 pieces about 8 days ago, and they just arrived today from China. So I've got all these nice little fence sections now that, guess what I'm going to be doing over Christmas? Because my other half is over in the UK right now visiting with her family, her kids and her dad. And we'll go from there once things happen. The other thing that I got in that last shipment, not the one today, but the last shipment, was LEDs. And, they don't look like much here, but they're nice flexible LEDs, and you can get them in various lengths. And I wanted to experiment with them for building lighting. And I use standard LED strips right now. But these guys are quite flexible. And there's 360-degree illumination on the strip. And as you see, oops, where's the camera gone? There. As you can see, it's very, very flexible. And not sure if I can cut them to length. I might try one just to see if I can cut it to length if I need a smaller strip here than what this length is. But yeah, they come with a USB connector on. All I did was cut the USB connector off and then figured out which one was positive and which one was negative. And to do a test powering on a lot of my LEDs, I just use standard 2030 batteries, little flat cells. And you're not going to hurt anything by powering LEDs up with that. In fact, you can take a standard LED and just put the positive and negative leads on there to test your LED to see if it's a flashing LED or what type of LED it might be. So that's an easy tip for today. And I do have some other LEDs that I ordered in. Where are they here? They're still in their little packages here. You can get some of this stuff on Amazon, but you can also get it cheaper directly from China in most cases. And Temu, if anybody doesn't know what they are, They're like an AliExpress. And if you're willing to wait for usually a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most, your product comes in. But these, there's 20 in this package. Little teeny weeny LEDs. Yeah, you're probably not going to see them very well here because the focusing is not going to catch them. But they are called 0805 LEDs. So they're ultra tiny. They're about the size of the end of a pencil, to be honest with you. And you'll notice I've got a couple of service trucks on the layout right now. There's one down here, which I'm currently pointing at. And you can see the LEDs on this truck flashing back and forth. Well, that's what these LEDs are. That's the size. So if you're familiar with N-Scale, and many of you are, you'll understand that those are awful small LEDs. And it's been a busy weekend for me thus far. Haven't done much, with being at home by myself. But again, it's one of those things where I gotta lose this hat. This is crazy. There we go. Get that on the floor. Yeah, it's been a busy week, and I've been trying to do or arrange more scenery on the layout here and get things sorted. And vehicle-wise, I've got plenty of vehicles. That's never been the problem. So they populate the layout. Now I have a few people, and I saved a bunch of them from my previous layout that I had, my previous switching layout. But this week I was printing, 3D printing, some new people. So I shouldn't show you that one because he's one that I actually bought. But here you go on the end of a bottle stopper, which is what I use to hold. Again, you're going to have a difficult time seeing these guys. Camera won't focus that shallow, I don't believe. Oh, there we go. That's not bad. But yeah, so these guys are 3D printed, and then I've been spending time, as you do, with a magnifying headset on, painting these guys, which is always a pain, but hey, can't leave them out there just in straight gray. And yeah, so I've got probably, what we got? There's 8 of them, 2 stoppers here with 4 on each, and I've got about another 8 or 10 upstairs that have not been painted as yet. Anyway, without further ado, I guess we should have a sip first. There we go. And I think we'll get this switching session going. So our first move today is going to be, we're going to be moving a tank car out of the East Maintenance, which is the building that, well, the one that says East Camera facing northwest. There's a tank car sitting in there. And we've got to move that tank car from that location, and we're moving him to the outbound track. So we're going to have to do a little run around with him and get him to the outbound track. So first things first, we're going to have to get our little switcher started up here. So let's get that underway. Make sure my switch machines are set properly here, which they are not. And now we are. So let's go in and grab that tanker. The only problem with wintertime in southern Ontario here, which is where I am, is the air in the house is a bit damp. And with any model railroad, I don't care if it's HO or it's N-Scale, or O or double O or whatever they are, you're going to run into a bit of corrosion on your track. Just because it's damp. So I've cleaned most of the track. I'm hoping that we don't have any major problems today. And for anybody that might be curious, yes, I run DCC here, obviously in sound. I am running a wireless handheld controller that I have built with the help of a designer in the US. He designed it. He's one of the guys on the DCCEX website in their handheld throttle section. And he and I worked through some problems that it had, little bugs, and that's all been sorted out now. And he's released a newer version of the firmware, or the software. See, dirty tracks, here we go, of the software. And come on, don't be doing this to me now. And I gotta figure out, that shouldn't be dirty tracks. What is it? Maybe it is dirty tracks. Come on, guys. It was a bad start to the day. You know, I mean, typical. All the other guys that do YouTube channels out there on model railroading live stuff, you can appreciate this. That everything runs fine until the day or till the hour that you're going to decide that you're going live. And that's when everything decides to start acting up. And that's the problem I've got today, is things are starting to act up right out of the gate, which is what I don't need. Come on, little engine, let's go. You can do it. And get that cleaned up. Hopefully that'll solve that problem. We'll find out in short order. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this guy forward now a little bit so that we can do a bit of a run around and get him on the back side of this switcher, which is where he needs to be. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull him up here a little bit. That looks like a good spot. We're going to unhook him from the switcher. There we go. We're going to throw our double crossovers here. Get him going in reverse, and we'll get our other double crossover set up on the other end here. There we go. I think I do need to do one of these days as well, is see if I can find a wheel cleaner that I can use to clean the wheels on these locomotives. That's something I haven't done yet. Well, not religiously. It's more difficult with DCC as opposed to DC, because when you've got DC, at least you can just apply power to the wheels and have them spin. A little more difficult with DCC because it's an AC signal with a sine wave on it. But we're going to get her done here. Well, he's pulling up there. I'm going to have another sip. Well, I hope Santa Claus is going to be good to all of you guys out there, guys and gals. Don't want to discriminate here. And I hope Santa's workshop has worked tirelessly to get all of your presents built and packaged up for you and ready for the big day. When you get to my age, your Christmas wish list is kind of small. Not much left for you to really want. So we'll get it back, this little switcher up. We'll get them hooked up onto the tank car. And I'm just checking down the line here to see where we're at. And I will leave the camera view momentarily because I have to go out of camera range to get this tank car unhooked. So you'll have to bear with me when I do that. I've mentioned it before, another bane of the existence of N-Scale is coupling and uncoupling of cars. But it's the nature of the beast, you end up dealing with it. Anyway, we're going to take this guy down our inside track, and I will be right back, so hold that thought. All right, that's our first move done. Woo-hoo. Mostly successful, other than the fact that we've got some dirty track to deal with at some point in time here. But yeah, that one's done. We're going to bring this loco back up and get our second switch job on the go here. Which is going to be where, oh, hang on, don't get him going too far. We've got a lumber car. Oh no, he can stay there, I think. Here's our next one. Covered hopper going to the from the welding shop to maintenance. So yeah, no, we're fine. We can bring this guy forward. See, this is totally unscripted. Otherwise I would have known what the heck I was doing. But that's fine. That's fine. The joy of live streaming. Get him slowed down so we can bring him into... Where are we at? Where am I going? What am I doing? Covered hoppers in the welding shop. Okay, so we gotta go there. we got a lot of stuff as far as what we're doing today. We got to do a lot of switchbacking and bring this local around to the opposite end of the to the trains today, or the cars today. So we're going to have to drag this covered hopper out of the welding shop in a moment. I should have brought some Q-tips down here and run some alcohol over these tracks. But 2020 hindsight. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Hope everybody's getting on well with their layouts, whether you've just started them or whether you've completed them and looking to do additions to it or modifications. I like the electronic parts of things. I like building stuff. Although, that being said, I'm not a programmer, and the nice thing is, these days with the Arduinos and all these the Megas, the Unos, the Nanos, all those things, you can add so much to your layout in the way of animation and control is concerned. I can build this stuff, I just can't program it, so I've got to rely on other people to do that portion of things for me. Or take an existing project, and I can usually muddle my way through figuring out how to make a change that I want to make to that project. Another spot on the track we're going to have a look at later on. Just not now. So we're going to take this covered hopper. We're going to move him out of the welding shop. And he is going over to where we took that tank car out of, which is the, no, he's going to Central. I was wrong on that, sorry. I'm not doing well today at all, am I? So we're going to have to do a tiny bit of playing, so we're going to have to move the box car that's sitting in Central Welding, or Central Maintenance, I mean. We're actually going to have to give this little covered hopper that's sitting in cold storage a bit of a nudge up, because we're not going to have enough room with this long covered hopper that we've got here. So I just nudge him up a bit. And of course he just latched on. I was hoping I was going slow enough I didn't have to worry about that, but here we go. Curious how many of you have 3D printers out there and what you use yours for if you do have one. And the next follow-up question to the 3D printer question is, do you have a filament printer or a resin printer? I find for larger objects like buildings, probably some vehicles, especially in HO, you could probably get away with a filament printer. Whereas for N scale, Because we're dealing with such small items, I find resin printer tends to be the printer of choice, especially when it comes time to printing out people and some vehicles as well. I've printed a couple of vehicles on my resin printer when I had my other N-scale layout set up. They actually work out quite nicely. Give you an idea, this was 3D printed. But as usual, the biggest problem becomes the painting of said items because they're so tiny. And it takes a little more patience to actually to paint the items. So what we're going to have to do now is let's find out where that boxcar is going to go. He's got to go to East Maintenance, so we may as well try and do it this way then. Track's gonna drive me nuts today. But we're not alone in this in N-scale. The guys out there with HO go through the exact same thing. Dirty tracks and humidity and whatnot. A little bit of oxide on the locomotive wheels or on the track always causes some sort of a problem for you. I belong to an N-scale and HO club here in town, and you can imagine what it must be like trying to maintain the tracks there and keep them clean. It's also a bit of a problem if they do have dirty tracks. You do pick up some of that grime and oxidation on the wheels of your own locomotives, which means that you bring that home and you end up depositing that on your tracks. So it's there's good and bad all the way around being part of a club. At least if you're only dealing with your own track, it's easy to keep the maintenance up on that. But when you're dealing with a club track, not necessarily so easy. I mean, the other part of that is somebody could have dirty tracks at home and they bring oxidized wheels and grime to the club tracks as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this box car down because we're going to do a run around with it at some point here. So we'll bring it down onto our inner track here. See, I'm still all alone here. Nobody's out there watching. Not that I'm upset. That's fine. I don't do this for any pleasure other than my own, to be quite honest with you. But I am curious how some of you YouTubers out there that run model railroads, how did you get your subscriber base up so high? I mean, I see some of the guys with thousands of subscribers, other with hundreds of subscribers. I think I've got 15 subscribers. Count myself actually pretty lucky for that, but so I'm going to do here, I'm just going to bring this box car down, get him out of the double crossover, and we'll unhook him here. Get my unhooking tool back out of the couplers, we'll be all set. Okay, we'll go forward. Yeah, this is going to get a little complicated, but that's fine. We can do this. We can do it. We'll get her done. We're going to move this guy forward. We're going to have to get our double crossovers going again here. Oops. And me not paying attention again. Didn't want to do that. I'll blame the conductor. Not paying attention to the settings of the switches. Oop. Yeah. what I get for trying to set a switch when the locomotive's in the middle of the switch. Cause a little short in the system. Let's try that again, shall we? We'll go there. Go there. Go forward. So we're going to bring this guy up a little bit, and we're going to stop him. See if I can get him in camera view, because that's the problem I've got right now. Don't have really good coverage of 100% of the switching layout itself, but I'm trying my best. I do have 5 cameras on the layout and a 6th one that is focused on, unfortunately for you guys, focused on me. So we'll bring this guy forward. We're going to get the other double crossover set up. This one set back. Time for another sip. So what did all you guys and gals ask for Santa for Christmas? That's the big question. And have you been naughty or nice? Do you think he's going to bring you what you asked for? Alright, so we're going to go back to our inner track here, and we're going to grab this covered hopper and get him into the east side maintenance building. So to give you a little idea on this controller I'm running, it's modeled after GP9 throttle, or at least this section of it is. So you've got your 9 notches or 8 notches in 0. And it's got a detent on it so that every time you go into a notch you'll feel it. And then we've got progressive braking on here. So we can slow the engine down and then bring it to a full stop. And we've got our forward and reverse, well, our reverser, I guess, lever here. And then we've got buttons that allow us to turn on and off various functions, start the loco up, track power is here, our horn button is here, bell is here. And we can dial in some delays on the locomotives. There's an emergency stop button in case me being me forgets that the locomotive is on its way to the end of the track, that I can quickly stop it. And trust me, I have had to use that a couple of times. It's an age thing. Come on, give me a break. So let's see where we have our switches set here. Are we going to make it through this time? So let's go and see what happens. I should have probably run the comm cleaner over that when I had the opportunity. Or at least get it set into the maintenance building here and let the crews in there deal with whatever it is they have to deal with. That's not our concern. So we'll get him. If I can see what I'm doing would be great. We'll do this strictly by feel, maybe, before I give up, which I've just done. There we go. Got her. Alright, that one's done. So, covered hopper is in. There. What do we have to do with that boxcar that we moved out? Where are you, little boxcar? Ah, he's going to East Maintenance as well. Okay. Well, let's get him. We got to get him pulled around and put onto the front end of the locomotive again. Oops, I forgot. When I go out of frame, the auto tracking doesn't find me, so I have to get things reset here. So bear with me again. There we go. Auto tracking set. Yes. Sorry about that, people. It happens. It's the only fault with having a tracking camera. Yes, it tracks you until it can't go out of frame any farther, and then it can no longer track you, and then it doesn't know what to do when you come back into frame. Oops, we're going to cause ourselves some grief here. Again, nothing quick. Switch doesn't fix. Alright, let's get her done here. Gotta get that done. Get that done. Hello, Glen Potter. You've arrived. Hope your evening's good. What time we got now there? 7 o'clock at night. You can't see anything moving. You see me moving, I hope. Can you see me moving? Yes, no, maybe. I see me moving. Paying attention to you and not to what? Sorry, I can. Well, I'm glad then that things aren't frozen. Just here and now I can't see. Paying attention to you, I derailed one of my cars here. good evening? Yes? No? Maybe? Alright, let's go. Let's get this thing going. We're halfway done. A little more than halfway, I guess. Now what have I done? Come on. Stuff moving for you okay now, Gwen? So speaking of Temu, which we were talking about earlier before Gwen arrived, Gwen got a great big Temu package delivered the other day. Chinese Santa Claus arrived. I'm a bit faint, am I? Well, that's not good. Shouldn't be faint, but we can make adjustments. Oh, you're on the phone too, on your phone, which probably doesn't help. But give me a second here. Let me see if I can make an adjustment to the microphone level. How about now? Is that better? Just made a quick adjustment. The levels look a little higher than they were. Oops, and now I'm not paying attention to where the locomotive's going again. How's that? Is that okay now? Now you got to remember that my microphone, Gwen, is sitting to my left, and I'm facing towards the front where the monitor is. There's no real easy solution to that for me. Hang in there. We're going to get her done. Oh, good. I'm glad it's better. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, I could move the mic a bit closer, but then it's going to block my view to the left. And I'm just hoping, usually I talk loud enough that I can actually be heard over the microphone. So we're going to come in, we're going to grab this boxcar on the front side of this switcher, and we're going to pull it back. Come on. Gotcha. There we go. Get this guy pulled back. We'll get the switch machine set. Dinner? Oh, must be nice. 7 o'clock at night. You're at 7:15. You'll be up all night. You'll have horrid dreams you're eating so late. Just wait till you come back here. We get back to a regular schedule of eating at a proper time. None of this 7 o'clock at night stuff. Well, you go whenever you're ready. That's fine. That's not normal dinner time there. That's just a time that you arbitrarily set for dinner. Nobody eats dinner at 7 o'clock at night unless it's pizza. Your stomach hasn't had a chance to digest anything when you go to bed at that time, when you had supper that time of night. Anyways, we're going to let the crews deal with their problems with having to do whatever they have to do with these two cars now that are sitting at the East Maintenance Shop. They say that's their problem, not mine. I just have to get them into location. Like the real estate people say, location, location, location. And we've got it to the location. Oh yes, well, can't upset that, right? That's why he has trouble sleeping. Those horrid dreams, he wants to blame it on melatonin. It's not melatonin's fault. Alright, he's done. He's done. He's done. And we may as well go get that covered hopper that's up there. You okay? We gotta switch you back there. What's for supper tonight? What'd you make? Fish pie. Okay. The fish alive or dead? Or the leftovers from fish and chips? Mind you, that being said, cold, 1 day old now. Here, bear with me on this. Cold fish and chips, well, not the chips, but the fish, is much like cold Chinese food or next day Chinese food. Can't be beat. I think there's more flavor comes out of that food after a day of sitting in the fridge. Just my opinion. I can't turn the trains down. Hang on, I'm going to mute the mic for a sec. And I moved the mic closer to myself, so hopefully that'll solve your problem then. Yeah, I can keep my opinion. Just remember that next time I order fish and chips and I have leftover fish. So this covered hopper's got to go to the co-op, so we've got to get her down here onto the double crossover areas again. Double crossovers are getting a workout today. And we're going to have to do the runaround thing one more time. So come on, let's go. Move that car. Tote that bale. Or something like that. Do you have your G&T? Okay. Well, you have a good night. Enjoy your fish pie. And we will talk to you later on. I hope you have a good evening. Say hi to your dad. And take care. Didn't figure you'd go without your G&T. Take care. This is almost like the old days, chatting online. Except I don't have to type. Mind you, I'm going to have to try the next step up for low latency on this OBS and see if I can reduce the delay between what happens when I see it versus when you guys see it. I find it difficult to play catch up with myself. Because I can see myself, well, I can hear myself talk, obviously, because I'm talking. I know it's me because I recognize the voice. But when I look at the studio screen, it's delayed. And it's very bizarre. I don't know how you other YouTubers do it. But I guess it's all in the practice and all in your setups and everything else. And yeah, I am running this on an old computer as well, which might be part of the latency factor. I don't know. Alrighty, we have to get this guy to the co-op. So, get him latched up. And I will be going out of camera view for a second, because I gotta make a switch change down at the far end. So hang in there, entertain yourselves, play some cards, whatever. Alright, we've successfully navigated down to the co-op. We'll get this guy uncoupled. We hope. Come on, let go. You know you want to let go. And we'll come back into camera view. And we've got one more pickup we've got to do, but he's in the on the inbound tracks here, so we'll go down, we'll get him. Make sure we've got the right number of the car here. Outbound, he's going to cold storage. His covered hopper number is 3400. That'll be fairly easy. Fortunately, this covered hopper is going to be the first one in the line, so that makes it even easier for us. Nobody saw that, that's okay. Actually, you did. You went on the wrong side of the switch. Now we're on the right side of the switch. Here we go. I'm going to fire that conductor that we've got. And we're back. Well, I'm back anyway. Moving on up. And again, we're going to have to do at some point in time here another runaround. Because this covered hopper's got to go up to our cold storage facility. So we better give him the green light. There we go. To get through. This is our last move. Not bad though, just about an hour's worth. I mean, if you exclude my talking earlier in the stream. It's just a shame nobody else is here, because if there was, we could just sit back and have a little chit-chat back and forth and see how everybody's doing, what everybody's doing, and what their plans are for Christmas. Heck, maybe even New Year's. Well, the last couple of days for us have been bizarre, I'll put it that way. The other day we had rain with, what are you getting stuck on? We had rain with plus 7-degree temperatures. Now, for anybody that knows southern Ontario in winter, it would normally be -7, not +7. Celsius, that is. Or colder. And believe me, we've had colder before. But it's, yeah. And today we're minus, well, when I last checked, anyway, it was -5 and snowing. But the amount of rain we had the other night was just crazy. The wind was blowing, the rain was slapping up against all the windows. But at this stage, I'm going to say, it looks like we're going to have ourselves a white Christmas this year. I won't serenade you with my version of White Christmas. All right, let's get this moved on. We got to get this guy up into the cold storage facility. Angels Cold Storage. And the reason it's called Angels Cold Storage, and you guys can't see it, but there's a little angel that sits on top of the cold storage building. I know a lot of guys like to do weathering on their locomotives and their cars and stuff. I'm not against it, don't get me wrong. I sometimes feel, though, that it's overdone. I personally like light weathering done. You'll notice well, you might not be able to see it very well on this boxcar. I'll grab it, unless I've got one down in the yard. I like to do light weathering on my stuff. I do like the pristine look, and don't get me wrong, I do like them pristine looking, but, I mean, if you're talking real railroad, and I know heavily weathered stuff is true to life as well, but it just seems a bit heavy, especially in N scale, when they get into this heavy weathering stuff. There we go, that'll be our last move that we're going to be doing here. Now let me take the camera and put it take it off of auto tracking here for a second. And I will be right back. I'm just going to go grab one of my other locomotives here. Sorry, not locomotives, I mean cars. I don't know how many of you took part in Rapido's mystery Christmas box sale that they had on. Looks like the HO guys had some pretty good stuff available to them. Sadly, we N-scalers only had one choice, and it was just an N-scale mystery box, and that was what we were going to get. That's what we got, and so be it. But give you an idea, there's how I like to weather my cars. Very light, shows a little road grime on them. Nothing too spectacular, nothing, oops, gotta get that back up, there we go. Nothing too terrible. But that's how I like to have my cars. And much like anything in model railroading and any other hobby / sport / whatever, it's user's preference. If you're a railroad, do with it as you see fit. Anyways, this BNSF that's just coming through now is my Christmas present to myself. I wanted to add a little more color to my switching layout here. This one I can take to the club because we've got a very large N-scale layout there, so it's not out of place running at the club level. It's a scale train, rivet counter, Very, very nice detail on it. So anyway, let me stop that guy, bring him to rest, and we'll kill the BNSF as well. And while we're waiting, I'm going to top up my drink. And no, it's not beer. Basically a cider, for lack of a better word. Where I live, it's very near Sleeman Distillery. They're the guys that make Sleeman beer and bottled Sapporo. But back in the day of Prohibition, they used to make spirits. They used to make whiskeys and rums and whatnot. And they've recently got back into doing that. And Gwen and I were at an event during the summer, and we visited their shop there and partook in some of their offerings. And what I've started to enjoy is they've got this thing called John Sleeman and Son Gin and Lime Mule. Basically, it's a Moscow Mule in a can, low percentage. So it's only 5%, but very nice beverage, refreshing beverage. So, yeah, that's what I'm having right now. Finishing that one off. Anyways, that ends our session for today. I'm sorry that there's nobody else that attended, but that's fine. I entertained myself and my other half, who's over in the UK, so I had somebody watching from the UK. Woohoo! That's always good. So I hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas. I'm hoping to have a live stream going on Christmas Day. I know most people will still be dealing with family things, and probably a lot of people won't be doing streaming, but hopefully some of you guys will be around. I'll set up a stream for probably, well, I'm hoping, maybe about the same time, about 1:30 my time, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time here in Ontario. Sorry, I was just looking at the clock there. And we can go from there. It'll probably be another, well, we'll see. Might be a switching session, or it might just be me sitting around talking to myself. But mind you, if somebody else does show up, we can have just a chit chat back and forth and see how everybody's Christmas was. Anyways, everybody have a fantastic Christmas. And if I don't see you, have a wonderful New Year, and hope everybody is prosperous and stays safe. Take care of yourselves, and happy railroading.